All right, so Bill Maher just did a podcast with Bella Thorne. I don't know how these two ended up getting together for a podcast. I don't know how this came to be, but it happened. And I'm going to talk about it because it was weird. It was really awkward. They argued a little bit, and it was pretty wild to watch because we have the classic boomer who doesn't want to hear about people's feelings. He thinks the younger generation is too soft. He thinks people need to stop complaining about things versus the classic millennial Gen Z person who is all about talking about your feelings and anxiety and trauma. So it makes for a pretty interesting dynamic. And right from the beginning of the podcast, it's awkward. It's weird. Like, these two people are complete opposites. But let's check it out because it's definitely entertaining. I mean, who would have thought these two would ever do a podcast together?
Everybody wants you these days.
Oh.
That's gotta be like,
Hey there.
aren't you Mrs.
I couldn't really tell what he said in the beginning there, but I think he said everyone wants you these days, which is a very strange line to start a podcast, but it makes sense because Bill Maher is pretty creepy during this podcast, and I'm pretty sure he only had her on because she's hot. Like, most of the time, it seems like he doesn't really want to listen to her. He keeps talking over her, and I just wonder how Bill Maher even knows who she is. Like, I barely even know her. I couldn't even name any movie she was in or anything. I just know she's an actress.
Deadpool or something?
Oh my goodness. I have expressed my love for Deadpool, and
So what is that?
the fans love it. They just, they love it, and
Sometimes-
they really ran with it. And I was
Sometimes
like, this is awesome.
People do the casting.
See, I mean, to me, it seems like Bill doesn't really want to listen to her talk about anything. He just is, like, interrupting her. He's like, sometimes people do the casting. Like, what does that even mean? People do the casting? Okay. Like, every movie? Like, what are you talking about? And it seems like most of this interview, he's just trying to say something to get her pissed off or to, like, trigger her or whatever, Like, he just wants to talk about how she's too sensitive and has too many feelings and too much trauma and stuff. Like, it seems like he just keeps trying to hint at that. Like, this next clip I'm gonna play, this is from only like 2 or 3 minutes in, and he already starts arguing with her.
Stomach issues and anxiety and like crippling anxiety, and weed has really changed my life. And
What is it with you kids and anxiety? What is causing all the anxiety?
I think everything, the world, the way
the
that the
world?
world
You don't
is
even-
now, it's, constant,
But
just bad.
it's
Everywhere you look, it's so bad.
You know what?
And it's
I
hard
find
to
this
find
to be
enjoyment in your natural day.
This girl sounds like she's in pain right now. Like, what the hell is going on here? And of course, Bill is sitting there like with his no-nonsense attitude, and he just can't wait to be like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And it's hilarious because this is like 2 or 3 minutes into the podcast, and he's already about to like let her hear it.
I find this to be a disingenuous argument because your generation doesn't know what's going on in the world. So how can you be that fucking concerned about what's going on in the world? I know what's going on in the world. I should have the anxiety. I follow it. You kids don't follow it. You don't know what the fuck's going on in the world. What are you upset about? What is the world problem?
Definitely things that we know what's going on. Maybe we don't know necessarily always the full story, 100% of the full story. But I think we definitely, we're seeing it, we're hearing it, and we're vocal about it. And all these young kids growing up with this form of social media and media in general, it's like, wow.
Look at Bill. He is checked out. He hears her talking about like the young kids and social media and anxiety and everything. He's just like, God damn it, this is everything I hate. I need to start smoking weed, which they do soon enough. Both of them start smoking and drinking, and it just keeps getting crazier. And it's honestly hard to tell who's more annoying here, because it's somebody who's on one end of the spectrum and somebody who's on the complete opposite, and they're just both terrible. They're so annoying. Like Bill, he does not want to hear from this girl. He thinks he's got the right opinion on everything. He just wants to sit there and stare at her, and she just wants to talk about trauma and anxiety and everything that's going wrong in the world. And Bill also talks over her so much. I'm honestly surprised she was able to last like a whole podcast, because I'd probably get annoyed. Like, you could tell he does not want to hear from her. He doesn't care what she has to say. Like right here, she gives him this weed box as a gift, and he starts talking about how awesome it is, and she's trying to tell him stuff about it, and he just keeps interrupting her.
such a beautiful. I mean, it is so
Thank you.
elegant.
Thank
I
you.
I don't think I've
I
ever
designed
seen
these jars.
one. Really?
Yeah,
It is.
I love it. As you can see the ombre
It's such a
between them.
piece of art. This box of dope.
It's so pretty,
It's
right?
fantastic.
And then people love to
Look
collect
at this
them.
ashtray. If you're listening to this while you're walking your dog, you're missing.
All right, so now I'm going to skip ahead a little bit to where the argument really starts popping off when Bill makes a transgender joke. And he was probably just waiting to make this. Like, when he knew he was going to interview her, he's probably like, all right, now I got to make some edgy joke. Even though this joke really isn't even edgy, but any joke about trans stuff is going to be edgy.
Bored.
It doesn't even matter because everybody's switching their sexes constantly. No, I'm not kidding about it. I mean, I am kidding about that. But people do switch sexes a lot more than they used to. You know, there's a lot of trans, I always see that in the paper about somebody who has switched their sex, which if that's what makes you,
Yes.
that what blows your dress
Bad
up?
bitches all the way.
Who?
Yes. Bad bitches.
Fat bitches. Why
Bad bitches.
Oh, bad bitches.
Bad bitches. Be who you are. Yes. Claps.
Right.
Claps. Makes me happy.
I mean,
I wish I could make fun of Bill for not understanding what she's talking about, but I have no idea what she's talking about either. Like, what is she saying about bad bitches? How does this have to do with transgender people? I don't know. This is just wild shit right here. Like, these two people, it's incredible that they did a podcast together, that these two people are in the same room and like the universe didn't explode.
I think there's some money to be made in some sort of exchange with everyone switching where, like, if you need a penis, take a penis. If you have a penis, give a penis. Like, if people are becoming like men to women, they're going to cut off their penis. And then there are women transitioning who are going to need a penis. I feel like if there was some exchange, maybe Bitcoin could be involved. And you could, no?
I just don't like joking about.
Oh, Bella.
I know
Oh,
that you
Bella.
like to, but I
This
don't
is where
think
the
it's
anxiety.
funny.
Oh, for
I don't
fuck's
think
sake!
it's
What a
funny.
shame. That is where
I'm
you're.
sorry.
That is. You don't have to be sorry, but I'm not
don't
sorry
think it's
either.
funny.
And that is where your anxiety comes from.
I think he's definitely looking to get a reaction out of her. I mean, that joke was pretty mild, but he probably knew that she would get offended by that and be triggered. And he just wants to go on some spiel about how people are too sensitive now and things aren't that serious and you need to stop being so offended.
There is nothing wrong with joking. Nothing wrong about that. It's not everybody is that sensitive. Not everybody needs to be that sensitive. Even the people who are doing that, I don't think would need to be offended by that. Everybody is so easily offended. You kids, you wake up offended. You should get off Twitter, get off social media, and maybe you wouldn't like have this anxiety. This because I don't know if you're really offended or you're just worried that you're going to look offended.
No, I'm 100% offended. Like when I think about, someone's trauma and the videos that I have seen that are so fucking bad. And
But you
when
can.
people have to worry about walking on the street, just being themselves, that's fucking anxiety. That's why I don't like to
Yeah, this is the vibe right here. Smoking weed with Bill Maher and then crying about transgender people. This is wild right here. I cannot believe this is a real podcast. How did these two decide to get together and sit down for a podcast? And I understand that transgender people have it hard in life and it's not easy and everything, but I'm sure this joke is not that serious to them. If they're getting beaten in the street and everything that she's talking about, I'm sure that's something that they're more focused on, not Bill Maher joking about some marketplace of exchanging penises and vaginas. Like, not everything needs to be taken so seriously. Like, if someone makes a joke, you don't need to think of the worst thing that the person receiving the joke has been through. But also, jokes do cross the line and some people have the right to be offended. I think situations like this, when you have two people that are on complete opposite sides, far on each side, usually somewhere in the middle is kind of the right idea. And that's where I think people should understand that there's a middle ground between jokes. Sometimes people will be like, yeah, I'm joking, but you can tell they're just trying to say something to offend people. And it's not it's just a good joke I came up with. But also sometimes people get offended too easily by jokes and they think too far into things.
Joke about it because, you know, someone hears it and on a public platform is so bad because you're like kind of low key spreading like this, like, oh, ha, 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 ha. And it's like, it's not funny when your like face is being beaten in the floor and like,
you know what? You can connect. You can connect any
like
bad thing
like,
with any other bad thing.
All right, so now I'm just gonna skip around to a couple other awkward parts where Bill Maher, he keeps touching her hands for some reason. Well, I mean, we know the reason. Like, we definitely know what's on his mind during this interview because he also keeps bringing up sex when he's talking to her. And I'm gonna start with a clip where he's talking about that.
Filter, just want to get straight.
Isn't it funny? People do lionize you like sexually more than like. There's always like a couple of chicks in any generation, and they're like, wow, like they're the go-to. Like when people want to like an example of somebody who like oozes sexuality, they say like you, like they would have a Pamela Anderson in a certain era. I mean, that's a lot to live up to.
Live up to?
Yeah, for you.
Oh. I think I guess technically it's like I'm already living it.
What the hell kind of question is this? He's basically like, you're hot, people are into you. What's that like? How's it living up to that? I mean, this is a weird question to ask, and I don't think she really knows how to respond because she probably hasn't even thought about it. All right, so now let's go on to the part where Bill Maher, he tries to like grab her hand and then she tries to do like a fist pound and then he grabs her hand again and then he starts looking at her rings and touching her hands, and this is just funny. I mean, this is cringy stuff right here.
Like, damn.
Well,
like,
not mine.
You know.
But I mean, I did it the old-fashioned way.
Fuck yeah.
But
Fuck yeah.
oh, that is quite a. Oh, right, you're engaged now?
Oh, yes.
Which
yes,
one is the...
this one.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yes, I love...
It's almost like brass knuckles.
Yeah.
Jesus, Chris Rock better not piss you off.
These rings, oy.
Put a dent in somebody's head.
Yeah, so he really enjoys touching her hands, I guess. And, you know, I'm surprised he doesn't have some kind of publicist or something that would be like, dude, if you're going to do a podcast with some 24-year-old, you should probably try to keep your hands off of her. It's not the best look. But in this podcast, she never did say she's uncomfortable or told him to stop. So I don't know if she was, like, creeped out by it. Hopefully she wasn't. Hopefully she's fine with it and she just thought it was funny or something. But... It seems kind of creepy. But also, I don't think Bill Maher even cares if it looks creepy or anything. He probably doesn't give a shit. He's probably doing whatever the hell he wants. He doesn't care about people trying to cancel him or anything.
I know.
I usually meet a
baby.
lot of...
You are so, I'm gonna lift you up. I know. Believe me, if anyone would know about comedians being on the dark side,
right?
I've been working with them for 40 years. I spent my whole life with them.
Okay, so
and
you were...
they're all kinds.
Like, what is that? Why do you need to grab her arm there? Like, her first arm, maybe you could make a case for grabbing, I guess, if you're some old person who likes grabbing people. But the second arm, like reaching all the way over and grabbing her arm. All right, so there's just one more clip I'm going to play really quick. And of course, they're talking about sex again. Like, he just continues to bring that up. And I think he calls her girly right here or something. I don't know. This shit is just so weird. This is so hard to watch.
Moment. That's why I don't fuck with music on.
And I feel you on that one, girly. Taking you out of the moment.
Yeah, right. Taking you out of the moment.
And 100%. You know, your thing about the female orgasm, I'll tell you, as someone looking back from the 60s, that is the number one thing.
All right, so that's enough. I'm sure you guys get the idea here. Bill Maher, he had on Thorne. It was pretty much what you'd expect. You know, some creepy old guy with some hot young chick. This is what you're going to get. All right, so that's about it for this video. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that like button, leave me a comment, hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you at the next video.